Hello, hello.
Thank you so much. Your Holiness, it's lovely to see you again. Thank you really so much for joining us today. And thank you to all the audience that we have out there. It's lovely to have you with us too. I'm Richard Layard. I'm an economist from the London School of Economics. And I'm also a co-founder of Action for Happiness. And for Action for Happiness, this is a very special day because this is our 10th birthday. And wonderful to be able to celebrate it with you. We've now got 250,000 members. We've got 1.5 million followers. And as you know, all the members have pledged to try to live in a way that creates as much happiness in the world as possible. And I think it was that message that made you decide to become our patron, which we are so pleased about. So it's great that you're here for this birthday, because actually you joined Action for Happiness before it was launched. I wonder if you remember that we were sitting on the stage in Zurich discussing secular ethics. And I mentioned that we were going to launch a movement to promote secular ethics and happier living. And it was going to have members. And immediately your hand went up. So you are our first member, which was a wonderful start. Anyway, the last time that we met was when you came to London, and in that theatre, we discussed the principles of Action for Happiness, and you launched our new course on exploring what matters. And I wanted to tell you how successful that course has been. It's been taken by thousands of people, but we also did a proper randomized controlled trial to see what difference it made to people's happiness, but also to their compassion. And we found effects which were so large that we were really even ourselves astonished at them. We found that people's happiness increased by more than when they found a partner for their life, or indeed found a job after being unemployed. So 2 months after the course, we were already seeing people's lives being transformed, which I suppose is not that surprising, because what we were teaching in the course was that wonderful philosophy of positive living, which we've learnt from you. So my most vivid memory of that launch day 6 years ago was after the event, and you were being interviewed by the BBC interviewer behind the stage. I don't know if you remember, but he said to you, "What is the single most important secret for happier living?" And you said immediately, "Warm heart." And that really hit me in my midriff, and it brought tears to my eyes. But of course, and this is what I would like you, if you could, to begin on, there's an obvious question, how do we have a warmer heart? So that's my question. My first question to you, Your Holiness, is how do we make our hearts warmer?
With warm-heartedness and taking care of others' well-being. It is by birth. We already sort of equipped that. We are a social animal. One individual's survival depends on the community. Firstly, as soon as we're born, our mother's affection, you see, that affection is key factor for our survival. If sort of baby without sort of taking care by mother, then will die. So that's, we are, as a social animal, we from our own mother and survived with mother's milk. So therefore, our basic physically are sort of very much nature taking care. Firstly from mother side, and then ourselves, you see, taking care, one's own mother, one's own brothers, sisters, and family member. So they taking care each other is by nature. Basically, we are social animal. Therefore, you see, the affection, warm-heartedness, taking care of each other is the key factor. Not necessarily connected with religious belief. Without religion, simply, as soon as we're born, you see, the warm-heartedness towards one's own mother and family member. So, warm-heartedness, since that is some part of our nature, now the problem, I feel, our existing education, you see, mainly come from a West materialistic sort of society. So now in education, we should include how to keep peace of mind and a healthy body and a happy family. Then, you see, nothing to do with religious belief, simply warm-heartedness. So now in education, we should include education about warm-heartedness. The school children, they know in their school, teacher always smiling and joking. Then student very happy come that class. And the class, the teacher always show angry face. Then student very unhappy come to that class. And then animal also. If you show warm-heartedness like dog and even some birds, if you show warm-heartedness, then dogs always sort of also they show also friendly attitude. Their tail go like that. If you show some angry face, even dogs are unhappy. So bird, once I visit, I think Australia, one garden. When I visit there, birds come and people, you see, feeding bird in their own arm. And bird come, take some seed like that. So warm-heartedness is the key factor to create happy sort of community. This is nothing to do with religion. By birth, we already have that seed. Now education, in modern education, we should include how to keep inner peace. So according Indian, or generally, the secular, nothing to do with religion. Simply how to keep individual happy person and happy family and happy community, eventually happy world. You see, through warm-heartedness and a sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, then we can truly develop peaceful human society. I always sort of determined to build humanity with a sense of oneness of human being, and a sort of different nationality, a different color, different religion. These are secondary. The basic thing is we are same human being. We need concept of oneness of 7 billion human beings. Yes.
I suppose that some people are born, as you say, everybody is, with an inner capacity for warmth, but they have some very tough experiences, and that makes them unable to respond. It gives them a cold heart as a method of defense against what might be happening to them. So I wondered if I could ask you actually how you have managed, because you have had some very bad experiences having to leave your country. You've had to be a head of state, which is a very lonely position. You've not had an easy life, but somehow you've kept this radiance, this inner radiance, which we've all experienced, and this lovely smile, if I may say so. So how have you personally managed to prevent these problems from making your heart less warm? My question is, how have you preserved this inner radiance and your smile?
Right. Firstly, whole Tibetan cultural heritage. You see, don't harm other. Even insect from our family, it's our tradition. When child try to catch fly or something, and then the family members say, don't kill. So that's our habit. Because of the Tibetan community, we are also practitioner of Buddha Dharma, the Buddhism. Like any other religion, the key message of all religion is affection. Whether Christian or Muslim or Buddhist or Jain. So I myself used to come from that kind of also family. And then my family, my mother, very kind woman. Then people choose me as a Dalai Lama's reincarnation. Then I came in Lhasa, study. So on basis of our sort of heritage, more compassionate sort of heritage, on top of that, study about Buddhist philosophy, these things. Very useful. And then come to India as a refugee. So that also very helpful for my life. You see, come to India, free country, democratic country, and all major world religious traditions live together here. Basically, different religion mutually respect each other. That's India's tradition. So I came here as a refugee. At the same time, I am the guest of Indian government. So I'm very happy, very safe, very happy, and enjoy India's freedom, India's democratic sort of system. So in a way, sometimes I feel if I still remain inside Tibet, maybe something different. As a refugee, come to this country, remain guest of Indian government. Now I'm very happy. So my sort of responsibility is to share my own sort of inner peace, and that also on secular basis without religion. So I also have last few decades I have special connection with the modern scientists. So now scientists also now realize calm mind, the basis of peace of mind is something very important. Even physically. So peace of mind, that create all body element become more normal way. Too much anger, too much suspicion, then mental level much sort of disturbed, like that. So peace of mind is very, very helpful. And then circumstances also give me opportunity to practice that. And then more sort of contact with people from different country or different religious background. Whenever I met people, I never consider I'm Tibetan, I'm Buddhist. I never consider. I simply consider we are same human being. So whenever I meet someone, I always smile.
Well, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And they say every cloud has a silver lining, and certainly we have benefited in the West, even though the Tibetan people have lost from your coming out and touching us all in the way. So extraordinary. You have made a revolution in the West, in point of fact. So if we moved on from the inner peace and serenity issue to the issue of human relationships with other people, which we know from our experience and from research, including kind of research we do at the London School of Economics, we know the huge importance of good relationships for happy living, relationships in the family, relationships at work, relationships in the community. All these things are very important. But relationships can involve elements of stress and how to handle this. Now, some people say, I had a very interesting conversation with Thich Nhat Hanh. He said, in any stressful relationship, all you can do is manage your own feelings for the other person. You just improve your own self. But other people say, especially in the West, that it's important to be open about how you would like the other person to change. So I'd really be interested. What in your mind is the secret of building and maintaining good relationships?
As I already mentioned, I believe entire 7 billion human beings are same human brothers, sisters. Then I believe now thinking my nation, my government, my country, that kind of thinking is now outdated. In the past several centuries, because of too much emphasis, my nation, my community, my power, then conflict, these things happen. So now today, we should think oneness of 7 billion human beings. We should think peaceful world. So they thinking my nation, my community, my religious group, that's outdated. Now time come, we should think entire 7 billion human beings. We have to live together, side by side. Easterner, Westerner, Northerner, Southerner, different color, different sort of tradition. But we are same human being. We have to live together on this planet. So therefore, see, when we think more realistic way, then naturally, warm-heartedness and with the conviction of oneness of 7 billion human beings. So therefore, they now thinking my nation, my community, on the basis of different color, different religion, that is outdated. Now we have to think oneness of 7 billion human beings and try to educate every human being. We are same human being. We have to live side by side on this planet. Now on top of that, now climate condition now changing, and global warming also now becoming something serious. Because of these sort of circumstances, now we have to live together and helping each other. That's the only realistic way. Okay.
But what would you say to people who are in a conflict with some family member? They obviously have to work on their own feelings about the other person, but how open should they be with the other person about how they want the other person to be? Put it this way. To what extent can you try to change another person? How much should you be open about how you want them to be?
As I mentioned earlier, we are a social animal. We have to live together, side by side. So, according to that circumstances, if we consider all other, irrespective of different attitude, even you see angry person, still human brother. So if someone who show negative attitude towards you, you should feel pity. And then, in spite of their side attitude, you should keep warm-heartedness and on the basis of oneness of 7 billion human beings on this planet, then today's sort of enemy, so-called enemy, you see, very possible after 1 week, after a month, will change. If the other person more negative attitude and you also respond same way, then the problem never end, never disappear. So my own sort of experience, I always keep more warm-heartedness towards everybody, including those people who carry some sort of problem on us. Keep as a human brother, sister. Things are changing. Okay.
Well, I think it's a wonderful way of putting it. Thank you so much. So, and what you're talking about is really a fundamental change in our culture. And I know that we have discussed this before, the need for secular ethics as the basis for building a new and more generous culture. And I remember I asked you once, were you thinking of founding an organization to promote a change in culture in the West? And you said that, no, that's not my role. I can teach, but I can't form an organization. So that was when I told you we were forming an organization that was going to try to do exactly that. And I think that's why you wonderfully agreed to be our patron. So we now have hundreds of thousands of people around the world taking daily action in their lives to be happier and kinder to other people. So as we celebrate this movement of ours, the 10th anniversary of this movement, what is your message to this global Action for Happiness community? We'd love to hear what you think of what we have achieved and what we're trying to do. What is your message to the members of our Action for Happiness community?
You see, your organization or your group, without religion, simply, with warm-heartedness and a peaceful sort of attitude, that is wonderful, very practical. And that is almost, I think, the hope of future. If we create happy world, happy humanity, now that is the only way. You see, too much emphasis on religious basis or racial basis, and then difficult. So, as I mentioned earlier, the concept of oneness of 7 billion human beings. So now your society, really wonderful. Without a religious belief, and simply as a human being, as a social animal, we have to live together and much happier live also helping each other. So your sort of society, your sort of the responsibility because of the activities, really very, very, very wonderful. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I hope that some of the members of the audience who are not yet members of Action for Happiness will be inspired by what you've said to become members, because we do think that we are having an impact in our own way towards making a happier world. Now, the person who created our movement is Mark Williamson. He's our wonderful director. He's an incredibly inspiring person. He's also a very well organized person, fortunately, and fortunately he also is a master of IT, which I wish I was more of. So I'm going to hand over now to Mark to host the questions from our audience to you, Your Holiness. So Mark, take over.
Thank you so much, Richard. And Your Holiness, it is a pleasure to see you again. I have very happy memories from our time together in London when you came to launch one of our community activities. And as Richard has said, we have so many thousands of people all around the world taking action to contribute to your vision for a happier and kinder society. And I'm so happy that some of them are with us for this event, this special time together. And we have now some questions from the community. And our first question is from Minda.
Namaste, Your Holiness. My name is Minda Baines. I have 2 children, and my question is, what can we do to support children and young people whose mental health has suffered during the pandemic? Thank you.
What's the name?
Pandemic.
Ka.
Pandemic.
Ka.
Pandemic.
Oh, now this illness is something very serious now. So now there are already many doctors, many nurses really now taking care other people, particularly children and younger people. Wonderful. Now, this sort of special illness worldwide, now in India also very serious. Now, a medical sort of professor, you see, they are carry some research work, but mostly important is showing affection, taking care, especially children who suffer the physical sort of weakness in order to improve that peace of mind, hopeful mind, more optimistic mental attitude is key factor. So, you see, people, those people who suffer this illness, and particularly children and youth, you see, give them real sort of, also the sort of showing you take care about their also the future. So very important to keep their hopeful or optimism. Because of the illness, the hopeless and then pessimistic attitude, it's also very sad, very bad. In spite of this illness, the mentally still hopeful or optimistic, very important. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. And our next question is from Adero.
Hello, Your Holiness. My question is, how do you create happiness with the shadow of grief over you? I lost my husband 8 years ago, and it's a struggle every day to be happy without him.
Now, basically, as I mentioned earlier, you see, we, human being, as a social animal, and your community, as your, also the basis of your happiness, basis of your successful life. So, your husband, one individual. So it is very sad. It's a husband passed away, but still your community still carry the also the oneness of same community. Then and then also you say, I'm monk. I have no experience, but like young women, eventually may find another husband. Okay, no problem. So important is all your neighbor should keep friendly, trusted friend, trusted community. That is more important. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. And thank you, Adero, for that question, because we know that so many people are facing loss at the moment, particularly. Our next question is from Alex.
Thank you for being with us, Your Holiness. I'm Alex, and I'm somewhat of an activist. My question comes from when I look out at the world and see what is happening. We see racism, we see climate change, and as a caring person, it starts to feel like too much, and my heart wants to close. And I want to ask you, what can I do to stay compassionate and hopeful when in a world such as this?
Now, warm-heartedness are part of human nature. As I mentioned earlier, we are a social animal. So that from birth we already have. Now we have this intelligence. We should utilize human brain. What is the best way to keep happy humanity, happy family, finally happy individual? So thinking, sort of brain, then you see on top of basic warm-heartedness, then use human intelligence, then much better to keep a happy community on the basis of sense of brotherhood, sisterhood. And then, as I already mentioned, the climate condition, these also beyond our control. But so far, our own community is concerned, you see, always keep the sense of brotherhood, sisterhood. Now recent, the flood in Germany and some European countries. So you see people, when things become difficult, then you see people come out helping each other. That's human nature. So that's wonderful. So now we should think, utilize human brain and combine with warm-heartedness. Then I think we can create much safer world and much happier world. I feel that. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. You are so right. Often in response to these terrible things, we see the greatest compassion and kindness and hope. Thank you. Our next question is from Rahina.
A lotus to Your Holiness. I'm honored to be in your presence today. My name is Rahina, and I'm South African. My question is, how do we cultivate the type of friendship that you share with Desmond Tutu to grow just and peaceful communities across racial and ethnic divides? Thank you.
Key factor, trust, mutual respect. Bishop Tutu, I always consider as a senior spiritual brother. Different religion, different tradition is secondary. Basically, we are same human being, and we both the practice of loving kindness and some little problem, then forgiveness. So the thing as a human brother, sister, and respect, mutual trust. That's the key thing. And different religion, different sort of circumstances, so that's secondary. Basically, we are same human being. Bishop Tutu, I really love him. One time he, publicly mentioned, he very much praised me. Then at the end, he jokingly telling, unfortunately, this person is not Christian. So you see, religion is a secondary. Important is a human being. So I think we have no sort of problem with different religious feeling, religious faith, but mainly on the basis of just a human brother, like that. So we can develop that kind of sort of respect or loving kindness towards entire humanity, irrespective whether believer or non-believer, and believe this religion, that religion, as secondary. Okay.
Your friendship with Desmond Tutu has been so heartwarming to see, Your Holiness. The joy that you bring to each other is so clear. We now have a question from Tanya.
Hello, Your Holiness. My name is Tanya. I'm a gardener and a nature lover. My question is, what single action can each member of the Action for Happiness community take to help make the world a happier place? Thank you.
I think, although you see some different sort of factor, but I can, basically, I always consider I'm just a human being, one of the 7 billion human beings. So on that basis, I found many of my friends, trusted friends. If I too much sort of emphasis, I'm Tibetan, I'm Buddhist, then you see, I myself isolate from other. That is secondary. That's personal matter. Basically, we are same human being. We have to live together on this planet. With that feeling, then I can also develop a lot of sort of my friend, all on the basis of just one human brother. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. We now have a question from Kathy.
Your Holiness, it is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Kathy. I'm from Bracknell and I work with bereaved people. My question is, can you share with us a recent experience that brought you happiness personally? Thank you.
I think the main reason I visit different places and meet people from different faith, including scientists. So whenever I meet people, I show smile. They also, you see, showing really trusted attitude. So that's a really source of my happiness. Firstly, I myself, you see, as a result of practice of warm-heartedness, I myself gain some much benefit, and then share more people, and many people, you see, agree and show me similar way. That's also the real sort of factor. I'm one happy human being. Although politically we suffer a lot, but at fundamental level, I'm human being. And then also people, the Chinese side also, basically we are same human being. You see, not right to say these are troublemaker and so-called our enemy. That is not sort of realistic thinking. Realistically, we should think we are same human being. We have to live side by side. Okay.
Thank you. And our next question is from Lisa.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Lisa Tooby, and I work as a health and wellbeing improvement practitioner in the National Health Service. My question to you is, how can I bring hope and happiness to healthcare workers who may be feeling overstretched and exhausted?
Yes, now you see people who really dedicated serving other, then eventually you're mentally also a little bit sort of discouraged and feeling of tiredness, and physically also a little bit sort of exhausted. So I think right from the beginning, we should approach, or we should commit, you see, these work, helping other, at the same time, without damaging your sort of physical strength. That also, you see, practical. You see, you should take care your own physical comfort, and mainly mentally, very important to keep fresh mind. When you really facing a hopeless situation, then you should think more realistic way. For the time being, you need your own sort of rest in order to serve more people, more time. Firstly, your own physical condition, your own mental state should be, fit, comfortable, like that. So people who really dedicated serving other people, and you see, taking care themselves, also indirectly helping, serving others, like that. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Such a wise answer. We have just 2 questions remaining now, and I just wanted to firstly say thank you to Lisa for that question on behalf of everyone, to all of the healthcare workers that are doing so much for others. And a related question now about the the difficult times we're in from Preeti. Over to you, Preeti.
Namaste, Your Holiness. My name is Preeti. I'm a teacher at Birmingham University. I recently lost my father during this pandemic, and my question is, what advice would you give to somebody who is grieving? Thank you.
It is really understandable. Your dear father passed away. At such sort of situation, you feel much sort of worry. But then we use our intelligence. One, the ancient Indian master, mentioned, if you face some suffering, some problem, and think whether there is opportunity to overcome that suffering or not. If there is way or if there is possibility to overcome that particular suffering, then no use worry, make effort. If there is no way to overcome, then no use too much worry. So we should be realistic. Your father passed away, very sad. But your friend, not only your parent, but also many friends. So one friend now passed away, but still a lot of human brothers, sisters still there. So thinking that way, when my mother passed away, I really feel very sad. But then that's quite nature, and no use too much worry. And instead of worry, some prayer. Like that. So, when one dear family member passed away, then think more deeper way, and I think now you remain, so you have to carry your parents, your fathers, the wish, carry continuously. Okay.
Thank you.
Preeti, thank you for your question, and we all send you so much love at this difficult time from the community. Your Holiness, our final question at this very special event is from Daniel.
Hello, Your Holiness. My name is Daniel. I'm one of the 7 billion too, from London, England. Nice to meet you. My question is, I have young kids, aged 3 and 5. What's one thing I can tell them to help lead a happier life? Thank you.
So your children also is a part of humanity. So I feel in the past, we human beings, not much sort of, I think, deeper awareness how to keep peace of mind, how to keep happy humanity. Now, gradually change. Now, human being more sort of experienced knowledge to keep peace of mind, like that, and a happy humanity. So, the future generation, your child, future generation, so they have to face future. So important is warm-heartedness and oneness of 7 billion human beings. And my nation, my religion, my community, that narrow-minded thinking is outdated. Now the younger generation must think about same humanity and live together. So that I feel important. Okay.
Your Holiness, thank you so much for answering all these questions, and thank you to everyone in this community who has brought these very wise and meaningful and moving questions this evening. On behalf of all of us involved in this community, we just wanted to say thank you for your inspiration and for helping us try to create a happier and kinder world together. I would like to now hand back to Lord Layard to close our very special time together today. Thank you.
Well, Your Holiness, this has been a most amazing event. And it's lovely to see you continuing your wonderful teaching and looking so well. Of course, we've been following your teaching for decades, many of us. And I think I can say, for those of us who founded this movement, that we were inspired more by you than by anybody else to go and do that. So thank you for all the support that you've given us over the years. And thank you especially for this particular event. And I also want to thank, for this event, the Office of Tibet in London and everybody else who has helped to arrange this. It's quite a complicated event, actually. I want to thank the whole Action for Happiness community for their involvement. And I want in particular to thank the audience for being with us. So, Your Holiness, we've adopted a new motto for our movement, which is happier, kinder together. And I can't think of any better way of describing what it is that you've taught us. And let's hope you've actually made us happier, kinder, and together. So thank you so much, and the very best wishes to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. See you again.
Please come to London.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you. Tata karma.